Hello, everybody. Zweidler-McKay here with Engaging Leadership, where we're all about helping you engage the members on your team and also engage with the leadership in your organization so that you can take your career forward. Today, I want to talk to you about delegation. So I talked to several professionals over the course of my weeks, people I'm coaching, people I'm talking to who are exploring whether they want to work with a coach. And one of the challenges I hear over and over again is people telling me about having trouble delegating. And they'll say things like, I know I need to delegate more, but it just takes too much time to try to explain to somebody else what I want them to do. Or I know I need to delegate more, but my team is already so overloaded. They have so much on their plate that I don't feel like I can give them more. Or I know I need to delegate more, but I feel like I need to really get my hands around this project or this program first before I can hand it off. And in my experience, those are certainly the reasons people use to not delegate, but they're not the real reason. The real reason is that people who are having that kind of trouble often also have a problem with imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is that experience that people have where no matter what work they've done before, no matter how great they've been in their prior work, their prior jobs, no matter how many degrees and credentials and levels of the hierarchy they've moved up, they still feel like they're not enough or they're not good enough or they're going to be found out as a fraud. And that is particularly common in people who are newly promoted. Every new job brings with it all kinds of challenges, new things you need to learn, ways you need to understand how things operate, especially if you're starting in some kind of new organization. And all of that lack of knowing, all of that newness can be really overwhelming. And it can be easy to feel like in those situations that you don't know enough about what you're doing, you start to question yourself. You can get really overwhelmed. And in the face of that overwhelm, you can start to worry if it was the right decision for you to get promoted. And then, you can get a little paranoid because you start to worry about maybe your boss or your coworkers are going to think that too, that you weren't the right person for the job because you're feeling so overloaded, like there's so much on your plate. So from that place where you feel really insecure, it can be impossible to set a clear direction for other people. Or from the place where you're feeling inadequate, it can be difficult to hold other people accountable. I mean, how can you hold them accountable to something if you feel like you're not hitting it out of the park? So that's where imposter syndrome and delegation can really interact with one another to set you up in a place where you're not able to get out from under it. For that excuse of it's just too hard to delegate. If you connect that up to imposter syndrome, what it probably is really going on is I don't know enough about what I'm doing here to feel like I can work with the other person to get the outcome, or I'm not sure I'm going to be able to be clear enough about what I want to get the outcome, or heaven forbid, they're going to see that I don't really know what I'm doing if I try to delegate to them. In terms of the idea of, the team is too busy or the team is overloaded, that can also be connected to imposter syndrome, because if you're in a place where you're feeling really insecure, it can be really challenging to make the tough decisions about what people should work on and what they shouldn't, what your team is going to take on and what they're not, that kind of priority setting that's so important to keeping people from feeling overloaded. And if you're in a place where you don't trust your own judgment or you're not feeling certain that you can make those kinds of decisions, you're going to feel really paralyzed. And it'll be hard to keep your team from being too busy. And you can see as you listen to this, how all of this leads to kind of this vicious cycle where the stories that keep you from delegating contribute to you feeling more and more overwhelmed and overloaded and having more on your plate. And the more you have on your plate, the less likely it is that you're going to be successful, because you're going to be missing some kind of deadline or underperforming on some metric because there's just frankly too much to do. And then that contributes to your feeling like a fraud and like, see, I didn't belong in this job. And so then you don't delegate. So, really there it goes round and round to the point where someone who has a deep sense of imposter syndrome can end up really stuck in their career and really unable to kind of dig out and move forward and build the team around them and get the support that they need in order to move their careers forward. Now, to solve this, you can't just fix the problem of delegating because those insecurities and those uncertainties are going to be there and they're going to impact how you give people feedback, how you hold them accountable, how you connect. So even if you learn the basics of delegation, if you don't get in and solve that underlying imposter syndrome and sort of shore up those underlying insecurities, really get to the heart of that emotional experience, it's going to be hard for you to really step into your leadership and become the kind of leader that inspires great action, that gets people in motion, that sets clear priorities and clear direction. So when I work with my clients, we really dig into both of those sides. We work on their internal executive presence, which is really all about that confidence and that identity as a leader. We do some specific exercises to move the imposter syndrome kind of feelings out of the way. And then we also work on the detailed strategies and the tactics for how to be an effective delegator. And putting those two together is what sets people up to be able to really take the work that's on their plate and share it with the people around them in a way that gets everybody more productive and more able to be successful. And at the end of the day, helps my clients become the authentic, confident leaders that they're meant to be. If that sounds intriguing to you, if you feel like you're suffering from this double whammy of imposter syndrome and difficulty delegating, let's talk. You can book a call with me at zmcoach.net/call, and we'll look at your situation. And if I can help you, I'll let you know that. And if not, I'll see if I can point you to another coach. Either way, I promise we're going to spend some time getting really clear about your career, where you are now, where you want to go, and what success would look like for you and how to get there. So zmcoach.net/call. I look forward to talking with you.